those are my two passions that I would like to go and do, is drive those two long roads.
So we are today on the 13th of August 2026. You said you started the car off in 2008. So if my math is correct, then
19 years this year.
Cobra fans, good morning. It's a chilly morning here in Africa, in South Africa. We're at 4 degrees and our Cobra road trip brought us out to a place called Pier van Ryneveld Park, which is in Centurion, which is sort of right between Johannesburg and Pretoria in South Africa. Like I said, a winter's morning, but we're going to have hot content for you today. With me is Norman Coolgers. He is the owner of this beautiful car in the background. As you can see, it's a project car. The car's still being built. We're going to talk about the car. We're going to talk about his passion. We're going to put him in the hot seat today and find out more about his passion for this legendary brand. Norman, so for every person out there that ever owns a Cobra, it starts somewhere. The spark ignited something in you, and every Cobra's got a story. So what ignited your Cobra story and when was it ignited?
Well, I think Hendrik, it was around about in my 20s, my early 20s. Yeah, and I saw Cobras driving past and all that, and I've always wanted to build a car. Let's say whatever sports car it would be. You know, and I've always had that passion. I'm a mechanical engineer by trade, so it's in my blood to use my hands. So that's where it all started. So then I think it must have taken me another 20 years of me just thinking about this. So then around about in 2008, I decided that it's either now or I must just leave this idea in my head. So that's where it all started. And then I purchased the chassis in 2008, so now I was into it. Now there's no going back now. So it's been a long project and I've really enjoyed it so far.
Norman, so basically you get two kind of Cobra owners. You get a guy who buys a car, put a big engine in it, make the car a manual car so that you can play with it. The car launches quick off the line. It'll do a burnout. It can do donuts. And then you get the more conservative Cobra owner. The car still has a very big engine, still a very light car, but they prefer a auto gearbox so that the car becomes sort of a cruising car. Out of these two categories, which one would you rank yourself in?
So I've put in an auto box. I'm not into racing or drag racing or burnouts or anything like that. This car's going to end up, the Oaks are going to see me in Centurion almost every day as my normal runaround car, you know, because this is where I play. You know what I mean? So it must be driven. I don't want it to just be a Sunday car where I go to Harties and all that. It must be driven every day.
I think when people buy Cobras, they are under illusion, and we've seen from an HSR point of view that guys come to us and say, I can get this Cobra, it's 15 years old, it's only got 4,000 Ks on the clock. And the first thing we would say is, you must be very careful when you buy an old car with a small amount of kilometers, because if the car is so nice and it drives so nice, a 15-year-old car should have 60, 70, 80,000 kilometers. And it's heartwarming to hear that you want to drive the car. Carroll Shelby said these cars are not built to be displayed, they are built to drive.
Don't talk to me about petrol. It's irrelevant in my life. You know what I mean? You must just go and enjoy, and I like driving. I really like driving. I'm not scared to go and climb in my bakkie and go drive to Cape Town. One shot. But I won't do it in a Cobra, obviously. You know, but that's it. You know, I think if you want to have a Cobra and you want to be out in the open, then you must do it. You know, and there's two roads that I want to hit it on, and that's between Laingsburg and Beaufort, that long road, and there by Springbok, that long road over there. Those are the two roads that if you those are my two passions that I would like to go and do. You drive those two long roads.
A couple of years back, you know, we planned a couple of runs. We did one to Nelspruit, which was fantastic. I mean, the scenery down in Nelspruit is just next level. The one Clarence through Golden Gate, that's also spectacular. And then obviously Cape Town, you know, Cape Town itself, going to the winelands, driving the coastal roads, going over Chapman's Peak. Looking at your height, you are the ideal fit for a Cobra. You know, somebody like me that's close to 2 meters, you know, to drive a Cobra for an hour non-stop becomes hard. But I want to chat to you when we get to the car, your suspension, what suspension you're putting in the car, what engine you're putting in, your complete drivetrain, your diff, you know, all of that. But I want to finish off this section asking you about your ideal Cobra. If money was not an issue, because a lot of guys build cars and say, I'm going to use a fiberglass body because aluminium body is too expensive. If you had unlimited amount of money, what would that Cobra look like? Would it be exactly this, or would it be polished aluminium body with a 427 Ford? What would be your ultimate Cobra?
I think it'll probably end up something like this. You know, I like old school, and I want it to be old school. And just look, what happened was when I first started building this, then I said, oh, I want to put this in. Oh, yes, I want to put that in. That's why one of the reasons why the project took so long, because I had so many undecided things to do. You know what I mean, of what I wanted to do. And then eventually I managed to get, well, let's just go old school. Let's just, if I want to upgrade it, I can upgrade it later on. You know what I mean? But I need to just get it to a point where I can drive it. And that's where I am now.
So we are today on the 13th of August 2026. You said you started the car off in 2008. So if my math is correct,
It's 19 years this year.
19 years. It's a long time, and you're so close. I came to inspect your chassis and your build the other day. That's perfect. Your body, I've seen pictures. I've seen it now. It looks perfect. So you're very close. What is your estimated date of getting in your car? Because we'll be back. We want to come here that very first day you get in your car and you drive it out of your driveway. You get your heart pumping, your chest sticking out, your car's done. What is that date?
I'd like it to be before the end of the year.
Okay.
Let's call it the beginning of December. That's what I'd like, if nothing else happens.
Okay. So we'll chat to you closer to the time, and I think our viewers would also like to see you get into the car, drive it out, big smile, and saying, you know, close to 20 years, you're done.
Yeah.
We look forward to that. It was so fantastic having you in the hot seat today. We're going to continue now, do a little bit of a tour. You know, you can see the garage is stocked. You know, there's tools, there's parts, everything. You're so close to getting done. We're going to look at your body. We're going to look at the chassis, share that with the viewers. But thank you for allowing us into your garage, allowing us to film your project. You know, I really think this is going to be a very special car when you're done. But yeah, let's go and have a look at the rest of your car. All right, Norman, so we know exactly how this came about and how long it's taken. So let's go into the detail. So from the looks of it, it looks like a KCC body, right?
Yeah, I bought it from Replicars.
Okay, so a couple of things that interesting that you can see straight off is that you've done a lot of work inside the boot area. So you can see that everything has been smoothed out. We've also done this on a Cobra at HSR Customs, and this is a huge job. You know, these cars normally, they're very rough,
Yeah.
and you put carpet inside, and you know, that's your look. And to get it this smooth, you know, it takes a huge amount of time, and you have to smooth out everywhere inside, which really takes a long time. But I like the look. It looks clean, it looks modern. What was your reasoning behind smoothing this out? Are you going to put something in, or will this be the look?
I'll probably put carpets in there, but I'm the type of guy that, you know, don't hide something.
Yeah,
You know, if you lift the carpet up, it must be like it should be.
yeah.
If you understand what I'm trying to say, because a lot of people go and pluck things where it shouldn't be plucked.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you lift it up and then it's shit.
And they believe nobody will ever lift up the carpet. But,
Yeah, but for me, it makes sense to me.
I know we are inside a garage, so the lighting isn't that great, but the car still shines. I love the color. What is this color called?
It's Chrysler orange.
Chrysler orange. And I see that you've gone for a, call it oxblood or a maroon
It's a maroon.
stripe.
A maroon.
What is the reason behind that instead? Is that just the color that
I
came
just
to you?
want it to be different.
Okay. It will definitely be a fantastic looking car, especially when you take this color out
Yes.
in the sun.
Yeah.
So a couple of things that stand out looking at the front of the car is firstly the scoop that's been molded into the body. Did you get the body like
No.
that or did you do
I
that?
did it myself.
Okay, that looks fantastic. I like that look. It makes the car look a little bit more aggressive.
Chunky.
So-
I would,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
it's fantastic. I love that. And then from a light point of view, have you got something in mind? Are you going to go old school?
I've got
or-
old school P700s.
Okay, cool, awesome. So we'll see that on the car. So yeah, there's the body. The body's been painted. The body's ready to go onto the chassis. It sounds simple. It sounds simple to just put it on the chassis, but it's never.
No, I've got a bit of work to do on the inside of the engine bay. And because I'm short, it's easier for me when the engine's not in the engine bay. You know, I can put all the wiring in
Yeah.
and I can do all that stuff, you know, whatever I need to do, and I can climb in there and do it. So I've got to strip the chassis now. I want to take the motor out again, put this onto the chassis again without the motor in, work inside there, do whatever I need
And
to
then
do,
drop the motor.
and then take it off again and then put the motor back in, and then
That's why this is a 19-year project
Yeah.
and not a 1-month project.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't understand when it gets to do this. And remember, once you've painted all of this, now you have to work slow.
yeah,
Before the body's painted, you can drop tools and you can do whatever you like.
Yeah.
But now, dropping a tool, chipping your paint, the car needs to go back to the paint shop so you
Yeah.
can fix that. So this is the slow part is coming up for
Yeah.
you now. But yeah, I think our viewers would agree. It's a beautiful color. And the beauty about having a unique Cobra, if you go to a Cobra run and there's 40 cars, there are not two that are the same.
Sure.
If you have any other manufacturer, there can be 5 or 6 of the
Sure.
same car, because these things are built by love. It's built in your garage, so by the time you're done, as long as you love the car, it's a beautiful car.
Yeah, no, it's,
There's no Cobra out there that's ugly.
I
You know,
agree.
there's an old saying that says Cobras are like boobs, even the fake ones are awesome.
yeah,
So once you're done with this car and you step back and you say, this is my creation after 19 years, that's all that matters.
yeah, exactly. That's how I feel, you know.
Cool.
And I just think that when you do this, if you start rushing it because you want to go and get started driving and all that, then the little things get
Yeah.
you in the end.
Yeah, sure. And little things, this car driving down to Cape Town, a small thing, can leave you next to the road
Yeah.
on close to Kroonstad. And then rather do it meticulous, do it slow,
Yeah.
get it done. With a Cobra, the bodies are beautiful. You know, you can buy a cheap Cobra, it'll look beautiful, but this is the actual car. Even if you don't have a body, this is the mechanics. If this is not set up right, you don't have a decent Cobra. Now, when I met Norman the first time and I came out to have a look at where he was, I was super amazed with everything that is literally done in his garage. Because he's got a mechanical background, it's a little bit easier, but it is still a humongous task to build the entire car, to do the chassis, put the engine in, put the exhaust, all of that. So if we look at this car going back to front, Norman, it looks like you've got a BMW suspension. What differential have you got?
That's a E36 2.8R.
All right, so that differential, your motor, 350.
Yeah, 350. Yeah.
So 350 Chevy with paired with this suspension, I think it will be a soft driving car. I know that the Jaguar cars drive a little bit softer than the BMW cars, but looking at your suspension coilovers and all of that, I think it will be a nice driving car, and with that differential, you can make as much power as you can from that 350. It won't be an issue there. Your chassis, old school ladder style chassis, so the chassis is sturdy. Your roll bars bolt straight into. That's very important on these cars, to get these to bolt into your chassis. The day you wanna roll this car, not that you want to roll the car, the day the car rolls, these are the only protection for your passengers. So I think that is very, very important. A lot of things that Cobra owners don't realize is when you sit inside this car, you must take a line from here to the front fender, the highest part of the front fender, and you must make sure that the passenger sits underneath that line, because when this car flips, that will be the line that touches the ground, and you need to make sure that this line and the front line, otherwise you need to make this taller. So when you're a taller owner, taller driver of a car, make sure that you're always underneath that line, otherwise you'll have a problem. So let's talk about the drivetrain. You opted for a Chevy motor. Now, if you look on any Cobra forum around the world, guys get taken out for putting Chevs in Cobras, and you know, I've seen BMW M5 motors, I've seen Mercedes 63 AMGs, and because it's a kit car, there's no real rule, and there's no real rule breaking that you're putting a Chevy in. I've got Cobras with Chevys, I've got Cobras with Fords, and if I park them next to each other and I don't open the bonnet, people won't even know.
You won't know.
But what was your reasoning behind going for a Chevy 350?
I don't like Ford. Period.
That's
That's why I drive an Isuzu.
Yeah.
Finished.
No, I see that, you know, you're a true Chevy fan. I've got a Ford Ranger, and I've got my best Cobra's got a Chevy. It's got a 427, and you know, it might sound blasé, but the engine doesn't really make the car. You know, there's a complete car. There's everything Cobra. If this engine dies and you put another engine in, the car's still the same. You know, there's no big difference. So guys have gone. I see the trend is putting in Lexus motors.
Yes, I see that. Yeah.
Yeah, Lexus V8s, they make enough power. LS motors, you know, guys putting LS with turbos, or they put Lexus with superchargers, and I think it's just a reliability thing. You know.
But isn't that more new technology as well?
Yeah, sure.
You know, fuel injection and all that type of stuff.
When we talk fuel injection, these cars, on a day like this motor is super calm.
Sure,
There's no choke. You have to know how to start your car. I see a lot of new Cobra owners try to start their cars on a cold day like this, and they end up flooding the car because they just keep on pumping fuel, pumping fuel. Where, like you say, with the EFI or a fuel injection motor, the motor decides exactly what it wants, so you cannot overfuel the motor, and it starts a lot quicker. But yeah, there's sort of, I would say, a debate between, when you build a Cobra, do you want to go 100% old school, or do you want to build a Cobra that works for you?
Or hybrid.
Yeah, and you know, for me, I'm the guy. I had a lime green Cobra, and a lot of guys said, "Yeah, Carroll Shelby would turn in his grave." But if Carroll Shelby built his cars in 2026, would have been the same as what he built it in 1962. We're not in 1962.
No.
We are in 2026. So we built something that we like, that we love. I see from everything on this car, and if the camera can follow, you can see how beautifully this is done. You can see how beautifully the wiring has been done. You know, the relays all stacked together. A lot of work went into this car. It's a labor of love car. And I, for one, cannot wait to welcome you on a Cobra Association run and introduce you to the family of owners that love their cars, because we can see with all of this, a lot of love went into this car. I want to ask you one final question about your car. A lot of people, this is not just their car, this is their family's car. You know, we've got guys who build cars, and then the wife sits on the engine polishing stuff. I see there's some polishing needed there, polishing needed there. Is your wife behind you in the project? Is she helping you out?
She does a whole lot of other things.
Okay.
She does a lot of work for Woodrock Animal Rescue.
Oh, okay.
So she does work for them, and we have puppies here all the time and all that. So she's not mechanically, so she does the other stuff.
But I'm sure she will.
But she
polish
wants
this
to
for you.
drive, and yeah.
And that's the thing, you know, you always need somebody in the passenger seat.
Yeah.
So, and the nice thing with Cobras, as soon as you have a wife talking to you in the passenger seat and giving you advice, you just accelerate and
Yeah.
the noise is gone. Norman, so a couple of things on this car stands out. You've got a very interesting steering column, steering wheel, and this portion on top of the steering wheel. What's the story about or behind this?
Well, Heinrich, I wanted to go something different. So I searched the web and I searched the web. Eventually I found idiot steering columns in the States. So they do specialize, so you can tell them the length or whatever you want on the, if you want your flickers or your hazards or your lights, whatever, they will customize, make it for you.
Okay.
So then they send you a drawing and you do it and all that. So I said, fine, I'm in South Africa. No, we can't send it to you. So I said, oh, that's a problem. So I said, okay. So then I went to Summit Racing. And I said, Summit, can you do it for me? They said, yes. So I paid Summit. Summit paid Idiot.
Oh, and then they went through like that.
Then Idiot sent it to the missus's uncle. And he sent it to me as a present.
Okay.
It was a nightmare.
And your steering wheel?
That came from Motorlite in the UK.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically American and
UK.
Great Britain. And then you also have an interesting story about your alternator because you're running LED lights on the car.
Yeah. All my dash lights are LEDs.
Okay.
So I didn't want to have a normal light to excite the alternator. So that was also another story to find. You can actually build the unit yourself, but I thought it was just a little bit, if you build it yourself, if you've got an electrical problem, then you've got a thing. So I managed to find a unit out of New Zealand. And
So-
they sell a little unit, you just plug it in normally and the LED works exactly the same as the alternator.
So what you're telling me is if we go and we break down this car, we'll see American parts,
Yeah.
we'll see UK parts,
Yes.
we'll see New Zealand parts,
Yes,
we'll probably see Japanese
yeah,
on the tires.
Yeah.
So this is a world car. It's not really a South African car, it's a world car.
Yeah.
But that just shows how far a Cobra owner will go to get
Yeah.
the perfect stuff on his car. And when he gets into this car, and by the time you sell this car, if you ever sell this car, there's so much that went into this car, it just ups the value of the car,
yeah. And also I've got a spreadsheet
of everything that
of
you've
every
done.
single nut, bolt, piece of sandpaper that I've spent on this thing.
Oh, that's so cool because that's part of the history of the
Yeah,
car.
yeah.
Once you pass this car on to someone, you know, there's heritage. It's not just another factory build, and that makes Cobra so unique because there's so much labor of love going into every single build.
And also what I've done in that spreadsheet is that I've broken it down, which days I've spent the most, which months I've spent the most, which years I've spent the most,
So you can
which company I've spent the most in.
so you can actually then see when the Springboks were playing shit, you were on the car a lot of times, and when they started playing better, you had no time for the car.
If you want to do
That
it
is
that
so
way,
cool.
you can,
That's
you
so
can,
cool.
you can do that. Yeah.
That's so cool. But Norman, it was fantastic to meet you. We're going to take you back to the hot chair. We'll wrap it up, and we'll see in the comments, in our comment section below, what our viewers think of this car. You know what they love about this car and what they don't love about this car, and that's the beauty. We all have an opinion, and we're entitled to our opinions. So let's see what you think about Norman's car. So when your car is done, the first drive of the Cobra Association, we expect to see you there. We'll stay in touch with you once your car is done, and we would like to see you on the road. And it was such an honor for us to visit you, to come and see where you've built this car, close to 20 years in the making. Good luck with the final part of your car, and we hope that there's nothing that goes wrong from here to getting the body on the car, starting the car, driving it out. But good luck, and thank you for allowing us into your man cave and seeing your car.
Thanks a lot, Hendrik. I really appreciate it.